Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. I know, folks, a lot of people are still not feeling so good. A lot of people, I got a couple of emails that said, Egberto, I'm staying away from media for now. I need to regain my sanity. I get it. No, don't worry. We're still on the job. We're preparing. We're keeping things alive for when you can be back again. So rest assured that we will be here as you recover, as you get better. Yvette Avery Herod, welcome, my dear, beautiful Yvette, our union expert. Michael Rudnin, welcome aboard. Great to see you here. David Davis, ugh, what a nightmare for America. David, where are you? Are you in Houston? Are you in Texas? Where are you? Love to kind of call people out. Yvette Avery Herod is in Atlanta, Georgia. AVQ, El Señor Rudnin is in Brooklyn, New York. All right, AVQ says, Philadelphia Inquirer. Democrats kept calling Trump a fascist, but these Pennsylvania voters thought he could help them pay the bills. Even though Trump spewed violent and anti-democratic rhetoric, those voters think he can help the economy and their bottom line. Matt Wolfson, a 45-year-old former construction worker in Scranton, said, he's good and bad. People say he's a dictator. I believe that. I consider him like Hitler, but I voted for the man. Whenever someone wonders how did the Germans elect Hitler despite knowing how bad he was, this is how. Not every change is for the better. We as a nation, or not every change, and Trump is going to tangibly make things worse. Yeah, we know that. Make their personal economies worse as our nation quickly becomes unrecognizable. We as a nation have chosen pain and loss, both social and economic, at the 11th hour when we're almost out of time to forestall runaway global warming. If humanity is still around, history will remember the fall of America with one sentence: eggs are too expensive. No, that's not going to be the sentence. I love you, bro, but I'll tell you what the sentence is going to be. Huffington Post. How Donald Trump could bypass Congress to install Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. No president has fully tested the constitutional power to bypass Congress and staff administration. Yeah, they have. Why would they say that? It has been done with what's called a recess appointment. Trump threatened to adjourn Congress to make appointments toward the end of his term, and some fear he will actually follow through on the scheme in his second term. And he has already called for Senate to let him make recess appointments, as Democrats can't slow down the confirmation process. Trump is already doing recess appointments by passing the Senate confirmation process. It's a dictator's move, and he's not even in office yet. Should we expect any less than Trump picking criminal buddies to run the White House and the country into the ground while they enrich themselves? No, we expect that. AC Rodriguez says, hey, y'all. Hi, AC. By the way, AC, where are you located? All right. We also have Eric Hayes in the house. He is from Kingwood, Atascocita. David Davis is in the house. Happy to be an expat. But where? Tokyo. There you go. I love Tokyo. I didn't really get a chance to go explore it. I saw it from the air. I saw it from the airport. Food was good. Patrick Magner is in the house. Meow, he says. And look, Cali, Best Coast, California. Pero qué ciudad? What city? What town? All right, look, folks. So yeah, a lot of people are feeling down. Now, it is not true that Donald Trump really, what's the word that I want to use? It's not true that it's like Hitler in the case of, well, people voted for him. Because when those people say, I am voting for Trump because he is going to make life better, they're voting on a lie that they chose to believe because they didn't want to vote for the woman, the Black Asian woman. The mind is an interesting thing. You look for excuses to cover your prejudices. Kamala came out and said what she was actually going to do for these people financially. She actually told them what she was going to do for them financially. The Biden economy recovered the destruction from the Trump economy. These people, welcome aboard Lee the Bearcat. These people chose to allow their prejudice to disregard Kamala and to somehow believe Trump. They knew better. It's a cop-out to make you believe that somehow they think this thug could do better. And you know what? I gave an interview to WAOK in Atlanta, and we had this post-election analysis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this analysis now. I want you to listen to it. I didn't do video here, so it's just the image of the video, but I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll get it. So let's go ahead and do that right now, and we'll continue. It's about 36 minutes long.
1980 WAOK. So that's our pulse check for this morning. I want to welcome Egberto Willies, author of It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, political blogger and radio show host for Politics Done Right on KPT 90.1 FM, and business owner. He describes himself as an ardent progressive who believes tolerance is essential. Welcome, Egberto. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm doing fine. It's my pleasure to be on with you guys. Angela, thank you for the invite. And just one correction, KPFT 90.1 FM.
All right. Thank you so much for that correction. We want to make sure that people know how they can tune in to you. So what did you think about that video? Were you listening to that? Did you hear that?
Oh, I mean, she nails it, right? I mean, this is exactly how we are programmed. That's what the white patriarchy looks like. That's what it sounds like, and that's exactly what they do to program us. And in effect, the result that we had in that a person like Donald Trump, who is a buffoon, not intelligent, can actually win an election over a very competent person because of exactly what she spoke about.
Yeah, I thought so too. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, this is like so spot on. It's just so spot on. So we started on Monday, just featuring a couple of videos that we come across and just sharing them, just kind of just wanting to do a pulse check on America and just let people hear what other people are thinking about America and what's going on. Tell me, what do you think happened in this election? What do you think happened?
Okay, the first thing I need to come out and give a mea culpa to all the people who've listened to me and the writings that I've done, etc. I had it all wrong. I thought America had grown further. Look, I remember that. I know that Obama was a fluke, but I thought we had grown further away from sexism and racism. So I have to give a mea culpa. I thought she would have won. But let me deconstruct this a bit. The stalwarts of our democracy in America are Black women and Black men, point blank. And to some extent now, Latino women. But everybody else has been co-opted by the patriarchy. When people talk about, well, you know, just maybe the economy was the issue, people use the economy as an excuse. This is the best economy in the world right now. Not for everybody, but in the aggregate, it's the best for the entire world right now. If we take all the numbers, so therefore people were just looking for an excuse to have their most outer or most inner prejudices for them to vote for an inept, xenophobic, rapist, and we can continue the adjective.
Yes, we could. I'm with you. I don't think that she didn't win. Well, not really. I mean, I think that she did win, but like you said, it was outweighed by those on the other side, or some inner workings that I think have yet to be revealed. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that there was some kind of
No, I don't.
You don't?
I don't want us to go there. In other words, I don't want us to go there and start to do what they did. He lost fair and square, but he never admitted it. He lost by 7 million votes in the popular vote, even as he won when he won by losing 3 million votes in 2016. In 2020, he lost by over 7 million votes. This time around, one of the issues that occurred is that enough people, there are two things that really occurred. If you take a look at the amount of folks that voted between this election and 2020, there's a big difference. Right now, we're down 15 million or so people that didn't vote. But that shouldn't have been the number that killed her. The number that killed her is that white women who will be suffering from these policies from Donald Trump couldn't get over that this was a Black Asian woman. But as far as saying were the counts wrong, etc., look, it's really difficult the way the system works for you to really, because they're not connected to the internet or anything like that, right? It is not an easy thing to nationally for what occurred to have occurred without somebody spilling the beans. That's my thought.
I don't know, Egberto. I'm gonna say Willie God.
I know folks don't want to believe that. Angela, let me tell you this. I don't want us to go where they go.
I hear that.
I don't want us to go where they go. They are an inept bunch, but we also had to show up, and we didn't show up. And when I say we, I'm talking about everybody who's progressive or everybody who needed to have voted Democratic. Mm-hmm. They didn't show up. Mm-hmm. Okay, there are people. So look, I'm in Kingwood. I'm in a very red area, right? And these people were voting gangbusters. And I'm in line knowing that the guy in front of me and the guy behind me, I knew he was voting for Trump. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I saw the lines in Atlanta. I saw the lines in Pittsburgh. I saw the lines in Philadelphia. And they weren't what they were in 2020. We didn't have lines. We had voting by mail. You remember?
Right. Yes, I do.
Because of COVID.
Yes.
But so what I don't want people to do is to go out there and start thinking conspiracy, because I don't want us to be in the same boat with those fools.
Yes. I
don't want us to look like we can't accept reality. What we have to go out there and do is work. In other words, let me give a good example. Okay. I love Kamala to death. But here's a big mistake. How much money did Kamala collect? $1.2 billion. Okay? Now, Donald Trump and his team collected $300 million. Let me give another number. As it turns out, Elon Musk did some little raffling around for him around the country, etc. But all of the Democratic money went to institutions. In other words, paid for television ads. Do you know a 20-year-old who watches television?
No, I don't.
Okay. It went to television. You know where the 20-year-olds and the 25-year-olds, what they're doing? They're
on
online,
social media.
They're on social media, etc. Right? Mm-hmm. By the way, you are a great radio station in Atlanta. We have a great radio station here in Houston. Here's the kicker. Did any of these Kamala people during your fund drive, did any of them put a whole lot of online ads with your website, within your podcast, within your on-air radio? I know at KPFT we got zero. But the guys who make $10,000 a month or $25,000 a month who are consultants, they got a ton of money. So we have to understand that it's not we, the people, that created this problem. But it's the people that ran the Biden administration's campaign. All these guys, they didn't look at the grassroots to get the people out. They just went and did things the way they did it back in the olden days. And we got the olden days result.
We did. So we got to go to break. We'll be right back. I got some callers who are just dying to talk to you, Egberto.
Oh my God.
They are just dying to talk to you. As soon as you came on, the phone just boom, lit up.
All right.
So hold on. We'll be right back. We are back with our conversation with Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right. And Egberto, as promised, I got a couple of callers who'd like to speak with you, starting with RJ in Atlanta. RJ.
Hi, RJ.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing? All right. I was just going to say a couple of things. As far as with them losing the election, as I said last week when I called 1380 that Friday, I forgot who was on that, but anyway, do y'all think that it could have been because, like you said, the American people really just tired of what the Democrats has been really bringing to the table? I mean, I hear everybody saying it is because she was a woman, it's because of all kind of other stuff. But I mean, you can say whatever you want to say, but I'm telling you now, if the Democrats keep going the way they're going to lose people like me also who have been voting Democrat forever. I'm not going to keep doing that, and a lot of people are not going to keep doing it. Now, they can make up any excuse they want to. They can say whatever they want to. It was rigged, whatever. But it's not going. They're going to find out. They're going to keep going the same way, trying to make excuses for the fact that people just didn't like her policies, allowing illegal immigrants to come in here, giving them all the money that people who are from here can't even get. It don't make any sense. Transgender stuff that's being forced on our kids, it don't make any sense. I don't understand even how the churches can supposed to be so religious and yet they're going along with certain things dealing with homosexuality or transgender stuff. It don't make any sense. And American people just tired of it. They thought by everybody running in there voting early, it was going to be in her favor. That just was not the case. People are not going to allow you. It's just like you open up your house and let everybody come in there and live for free who just come from anywhere. It don't make sense. If it's against the law for companies to hire people who are illegal, it should have been against the law. The Biden them broke the law, allowing people to come in here illegally, giving them free benefits and funding. Look at Chicago, New York, all these places have been going through hell because of this is being allowed by the Democrat administration. So people just tired of it. Now y'all can say anything you want to, any excuse we can come up with, but I'm telling you, they're gonna keep losing. They keep going that route.
Okay, let me answer you first, sir. But Angela,
yes,
I hope you listen to what that young man had to say.
Yes.
And that is how effective the Trump message was. Mm-hmm. What he said was completely wrong, entirely wrong. But he believes what he just said. And I don't have anything but respect from the caller that just said that. And where the Democrats failed, they failed in messaging to tell the truth. Let's talk about each. Well, would you like me to answer each of these points independently?
Yes.
Point number one on immigration. First of all, if we take all the monies, first of all, immigrants don't come over here and get money from the government willy-nilly like Trump advertised. That is not what happens. What happens is we are part of the international community, and if people come over here seeking asylum by international law, we are responsible for figuring out if there is a legitimate claim for said asylum. Now, that takes time because we don't have a bill that says, let's go ahead and expedite these issues so we know if we ought to deport that person quickly or not. If we can't deport them quickly, we have to house them. We have to feed them. Now, the reality is nobody in America should be unfed, unhoused, or any of those issues, but the policies of the Republicans create those possibilities. Under the Biden administration, what actually occurred is we dropped poverty in half because of policies that were ripped up 2 years after he came into office by the same administration that is going into power in 2025. So the things that young man spoke about, it's the same. If he voted for Trump, he voted for the institution of those policies that ensure these poor people remain poor, stay poor, or get poor. So that is on the economic part. As far as the economic situation in the country, the economic situation in the country was caused by the guy he elected because of what they did with COVID. And again, the Democrats are poor communicators. Let's give an example. And you can interrupt me if you have to, Anchor, if I'm going a bit too.
Oh, no, go ahead.
But COVID, all right? Before COVID, we've had potential pandemics before COVID. But guess what? When we had the Obama administration, Obama heard that Ebola was about to come. Obama heard that E12N1 was supposed to come. Instead of sitting and putting his tail between his leg, he ran to Africa. He ran to Indonesia. He sent people to these places so that we could arrest the disease before it metastasized in a country that then could spread like COVID did. We could have done the same thing with COVID. If Trump had jumped on the bandwagon and said, I am going to go into China and make sure and help those folks so that this stuff doesn't spread and come over here. If when it initially came to Washington State and New York, if he had said, we'll institute quarantines immediately, the spread would have been mitigated. But we didn't do that. By the spread occurring, it killed the economy. By killing the economy, it affected the mainstream, the system of transferring goods. That system of transferring goods, when that broke down, it caused shortages. When you got shortages, you got inflation. So therefore, directly created by the policies of Trump, who is now going to be placed back into power. Now, how did Biden handle that? Better than any country in the world. Because our inflation is now at 2.1%, lower than it was when Trump was in office. The employment rate lower than it was when Trump was in office. None of that is widely distributed as Trump's message went through social media and every other media mechanism. So again, I'm saying everything the young man spoke about there was, again, I mean, he's an honest guy. He only knows what he reads and he says and he hears, but he's wrong.
Yeah.
Now, the part that is debatable now are the issues with transgender and a woman's control of her own body. To men, I tell them this: control your own damn body. If you don't like abortion, or you don't want your daughter or your family to have an abortion or whatever, then you run your household the way you want to run your household. Nobody is stopping you from doing that. But damn it, you don't try to tell a woman or another person what they're supposed to do. You don't.
Amen to that.
And when it comes to trans, what does that matter to you? The only thing trans are saying is, leave me to hell alone.
Yeah.
Let me live my life. What does that? And ministers, I don't want to hear from the pastors and the ministers. The biggest sex scandals in this country occurs in the church, not outside of the church. The most evil that has occurred in this country, the wars that have occurred. So there are good Christians out there. I commend them, but I don't want to hear anything about why is the church doing this or why isn't the church doing that? Because the institution that has caused the most trouble right now that we've had in this country. You want to know where your kids are in most danger? We did some stats on this. Your kids are not in danger because of a trans or a homosexual person. Your kid's in danger because of a darn pastor. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you so much for that. So, you said a mouthful, and I definitely see, and I can agree with what you were saying, definitely. So that's why I wanted you to continue, because I definitely was agreeing with what you were saying. So I'm wondering, though, what do you see as the most dangerous aspect of a Trump second administration?
The destruction of the administrative state. In other words, when Trump leaves in 4 years, look, he's going to mess up, okay? He's going to mess up and people are going to turn against him. Let me give an example. Do you remember in 2008, during that election between McCain and Obama, And Bush had really messed the economy up. His rate was down to 38%. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, people wanted to get rid of him. I tell you how I knew a black man finally could get through. They were doing Bush destroyed the faith in the Republican Party. A canvasser was in I think it was Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and this guy, the canvasser, went up to the woman that was at the door and said, "Who are you voting for?" They're canvassing for Obama, and the woman, I don't know why she thought she had to do this, but she went ahead and she shouted to her husband, "Honey, who are we voting for?" And the husband goes back and he shouts back, "Oh, tell them we're voting for the N guy." I don't want to use the word. I don't want to use the word on your station. Yeah. But you understand.
Yes, I do understand.
This guy is a racist. He's a sexist. But the economy is so bad. It is so bad that he was going to go against his own personal racism and sexism to vote for the black guy.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, the economy was not bad enough. Things were not bad enough for those white women who went with their own internal racism and sense of patriarchy to say, I am going to vote for the black Asian woman.
Yeah. Sadly.
That's what this country has gone to.
Wow. All right. We'll be right back. News and Talk 1380 WAOK. We are back on the WAOK Morning Show, and we have our guest, Egberto Willies, with us, host of Politics Done Right. And we have another caller for you, Egberto. We have Michelle in Atlanta.
Hi, Michelle.
Yes. Hi, how are you? I'm enjoying your comments, and I totally 100% agree with you. I think at first I was thinking in the area of the election was stolen, but I don't think so. I think it was misinformation. And misinformation, let me tell you, I canvassed for a long time. I gave to ActBlue. I did everything I could in my power. I went out and talked to young boys. I was wondering, where are the people that are actually on the campaign that are doing this, that are getting paid for this? Because the things that I was hearing that these young black men were believing, and some black women, and that were so angry at this administration, Biden's administration, for things that are not implemented into our communities, it's just unbelievable. Where were they? Were they in the barbershops, which I was? Were they in the hood? Did they go to the rural areas and try to get some of these people in the rural areas? They only get their information from Fox News. This was misinformation. I'm not scared about what's going to happen because I know it's going to be treacherous. But what I am afraid of is how are we going to fight it? Because let me tell you, we have the power, the people, and I'm not just talking about black people. We have the power, but we don't have the money. So now we're confronted with someone, Elon Musk, and Bill, all the people in the Project 25, that supported Clarence Thomas with these lavish gifts, who also supports Cornel West. And somebody needs to look into that. He's on there talking about Gaza and all this stuff. He helped him also win. And nobody's pointing that out either. We need to look into all this stuff. How are we going to fight this? Because when you have money, you have power. You have power to spew out these misinformations. You have you can buy off people, the news channels and everything. 26 states, there's a Republican that owns the news channels. These people are told, because they need a job, what they can report and what they can't. How are we going to fight this? We have the power, but we don't have the money. And as far as the churches and everything, why are they so? I agree with you. You need to be scared of what's going on in the churches. Those are, look at some of our leaders in the churches who have been found, liable and guilty of what they've done to some of our young black boys. And I'm not to even mention the priests and all, and, look at how we're being attacked now. So I don't think I don't think today we are like our leaders and our ancestors back during the Jim Crow rights and stuff. Who's going to step up and protect these people that they're going to come after, like Tisha in New York, like Bonnie Willis, Michelle Obama? Who's going to be here to stand up and march for that? Are we going to put our money in places that is going to matter so we can fight them? Are we going to support our leaders? Are we just going to turn our back and keep blaming everybody? I always felt like Black people, I really think this is a reckoning, to be honest with you, because something has to change to bring our people together. Because we're so, the elite got this, and then people are suffering down here. I can be in a car and see a homeless man out on the street. Millions of cars pass by. It seems like I'm the only one raising my window down to give money. When is the compassion going to be for those less privileged than we are? Are we going to stick together? Are we going to come together finally? Because they're coming after us.
Yes, they are.
They're coming after us.
They are. Let's get Egberto to respond to you, Michelle. Thank you so much for calling and for listening.
Look, I love what Michelle had to say, and I love Michelle's passion, because that is what's going to take. Michelle's basic answer is that she knows the solution, but the problem is that we don't have the money. And I just want to correct one thing, Michelle. We have the money. We're just giving it to the wrong people. The fact that Kamala picked up so many millions of dollars, $5, $10, $20 at a time, means that we have the money. The problem about it is direction and how do we spend it. And I hope what this loss does with the Democratic Party is it stops us from giving to the Democratic establishment and start giving to the progressive establishment. And who is the progressive establishment? It's sparse. It's larger but sparse. It's all over the place. And with a station like WAOK, a program like this that gives us the opportunity to have this discussion, that people in the car can hear a discussion unencumbered by the plutocracy, the oligarchy. When Angela talks to you, she's talking to you from experience and the heart. This is a program that needs supporting. We have to be selective in who and what we support. I write blogs and I do Substacks, and my whole income stream to be able to do this is over the internet and people subscribing and supporting. We have to support people like that, because you're not going to get the correct information or messaging from the mainstream. And why not? Because you stated it, Michelle. Yeah, they need their job. They have to toe the line. I don't have to toe a line. Angela doesn't have to toe a line. We can tell the truth. Right?
That's it.
So we have to be honest. And we are also have to accept the responsibility for not doing our job entirely. And the words that you spoke on this air would have convinced a lot of people there is a problem with the establishment Democratic Party. And I hope my words would convince others to stop giving to the establishment and start providing to the people, Angela, the me's of the world, those of us that are really trying to do the right thing to inform our people. That guy that called first, great guy, but completely disinformed, not uninformed, disinformed, because what he was informed with was on truths that he thought were truths.
Yeah.
And that is what we have to be careful of.
He's about to find out, that's for sure. Real fast. So I want to get your opinion when we come back on the other side of this break, Egberto. Are you concerned that we might be turning into an authoritarian type government with Trump? Do you believe that that's what he is setting himself up for? I want you to answer that for me on the other side. We'll be right back. News and Talk 1380 WAOK. So I asked you a question right before the break, Egberto, but before you answer that question, can you tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you? So we just had someone who wanted to know how she can get in touch with you and how she can support you. So can you give us that?
Okay. Oh, absolutely. If you go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. That's the entry into all the different things that we do. And you can support that way if you so desire as well. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. So what are your thoughts about Trump trying to move to an authoritative style government?
Thank you, Angela, because that is the number one question. Let me just say we are already a soft authoritarian state. Let me give an example. I promote our messaging, the kind of messaging that supports us all on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere. But because our main sources of the internet is controlled by a few billionaires, they can shut me down. Let me give an example. A few years back, I said something that they didn't like about our system. And somehow my channel was blocked. And as my channel was blocked, it meant my income stream from videos went to zero. Why did I call it soft authoritarian? Because while they didn't come and arrest me, what they did is they prevented me from making income on that particular channel. And that is the current way things run. That is why our brother that called earlier was ill-informed. Because again, the Trump messaging was allowed to go over all these networks freely, while our messaging, it takes a little bit more effort to get to that amount of people. The other thing, and I wrote about this at my newsletter, what Trump did is something Obama did, which made Obama quite successful, and that meant targeting. Online targeting. As an example, let me give you the perfect example. Kamala is a Black Asian woman married to a Jewish man. The way she was advertised by Trump to the Palestinian community was a woman married to a Jewish man who hates. To the Palestinians, she's married to a Jewish man who hates Palestinians, so she hates you. So that was inculcated and direct message to those people from the Trump campaign. At the same time, the Trump campaign was sending these messages directed to Jews saying that, look, Kamala is like all those other leftists who are there just to support Gaza, those terrorists. No context whatsoever. So she got hit on all sides for who she was, completely misrepresented, but actually it did its job. You notice this young man that called earlier, he was talking about Gaza and all of that. How many people in the community do you know really is concerned about Middle East policy? What Trump did was planted that seed into the minds of many who otherwise would not have been there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. We have another caller for you, Willie in Mableton. Good morning, Willie.
Good morning. Good morning to you and your guests here. Hey, listen, this guy here needs to be the leader of Kamala's campaign headquarters. He is so on point with what he's telling. I'm hoping that people will listen now. We needed his voice 2 years ago. But I know you keep addressing that first caller, which I was going to do too, because that first caller is misinformed. But you cannot tell them, you cannot tell them, you can tell them that, but they're not going to hear you. There's an old saying that that some people can't see the forest for the trees. We got a nation full of those people right now. But this guy here nailed that guy to the cross. I don't need to really go into no more detail about what, but in my opinion, the Republicans were in control of this inflation we've been going through. They were in control of all the transgender issue. They control all that. And as long as they are able to get a certain segment of people, I hear some people say, well, yeah, I heard that, but I don't believe that. But you got some people to do, and they worked on those people that they could feed that to. Those are the people that either didn't go vote or they went to vote and they voted for Trump because they thought transgender issues was going to solve our problems. The Republicans are not going to solve these problems, but they'll pin that problem on you if you don't solve it, and then say, because you can solve the problem, you must be part of the problem. And you got people swallow that. Well, like I said, I'm listening. I'm just enjoying what he's saying because we needed him a long time ago. And if people will start, if there's a way that we can listen at him more, it's going to be to our benefit.
Well, that is quite a compliment. How do you feel about that, Egberto?
I am honored. And let me tell, and this is Angela, anytime you want me, I'm here to be on your program.
Well,
but
thank you.
I think we all have to start doing a whole lot more collaboration because here's the problem. It's all of us in the grassroots, all of us that are independent. We are the ones who have to work together to make the change because everybody else is bought. Everybody else is owned. And until we do that, and we've started doing it, it's just that it's not a process that's going to take place in a year or two. You build. The Republican machine wasn't built in a year. It took them 50 years. Hear me out here. It took 50 years for them to kill the codification of Roe v. Wade. It took them 50 years it took them almost 50 years to get rid of affirmative action again, which they've done practically, right?
Yeah.
So they were patient. They just bit at it. Now we have to grow back up again.
Yeah.
And the way to do it is you have to look, and people out there, I don't know, those of you in the know, you are responsible, all of us, myself, Angela, everybody, we are responsible as a church. I'm not a church guy. I'm a humanist, but my wife is a deacon. All right. We have to be our brother's keeper. And those of us that I wrote this book called It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative Friends and Neighbors. And the reason I did that is to say we don't need to hate on those people that voted for Trump. We don't need to hate on those people that are or did these things because you don't. If you know somebody's sick in the mind, you treat them differently than if they're just bad. And what happens right now is America is sick in the mind, and it's something that those of us that are still sane have to find a way to help them out of.
Well, thank you so much for that. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being our guest. Just like before, we have loved having you here, and I'll definitely be giving you a call back.
Folks, I hope you like that. The first thing I want to address is E2247. I'm very disappointed in that last statement. This discussion is so superficial and a waste of our time that I wonder what good PDR is anymore. Oh, really? I take exception to that statement. One of the things these people who are calling into the program have an issue with is they feel lost. They feel they don't have a solution. One woman speaks about, we know what we need to do, but don't have the money. I'm able to express to her that if we work collectively, no, we do have the money. And I pointed out how $1.2 billion from Kamala was wasted because it didn't come to the grassroots. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people don't realize they need to stop giving to the establishment and actually give to the low level. Then we had another person talk about, what about immigrants? I gave a detailed explanation of what goes on with immigrants and the fallacy that many believe of immigrants. People don't know that. A lot of folks in that community believe that somehow we're taking care of immigrants at the expense of others. That explained. And I can go over and over and over again. So E2247, love you, brother, but not because the people in Gaza are feeling a hell of a lot of pain. There's nothing PDR or anyone else can do without power to help PDR. So spewing and talking about it all the time is good to keep it into our frame of reference. However, it is impossible that unless we get the collective together for us to do anything about it. These fascist white supremacists who take up space here in PDR, again, you live in America, E2247. You live in America. You are going to have these white fascist nationalists everywhere you go. It's what I hope to show folks is a maturity where you can disregard it. Don't you see me disregard Mike Cisak when he says stupidity? Don't you see me disregard Eric Hayes? I can live with all these negative inputs coming in and not believe that I have to respond to the stupidity. And we need to get to the point in our lives where what's coming from them is irresponsible, disinformed noise, which is what they speak. We have to, while they are speaking this ridiculous noise, we have to be strong and let it be known that there is another way, but we need to listen to their noise. Their noise is what, keeping ourselves away from their noise is what allowed the first brother who called into the show to believe that immigrants are the problem and trans are the problem and anything else, because we didn't know the deep-seated effect that had in all the communities. We needed to know that. Gaza is not going to solve that problem here in America so we can ultimately solve the Gaza problem. It's important. Egberto, there are serious calls to action that PDR should be voicing aloud, not just me posting on Twitter to know. Wait a minute. There are many ways that you can contact here, E2247. If you have a particular action of purview that I don't see in the thread, you can send me a direct message. You can send me an email. I am responsive. Egberto, there's this important event happening. I don't know everything. There's this important event happening. Promote this. Create a video about it. Create a TikTok about it. But again, we can't assume that we are all connected and having the same information. That's why I speak about the collective. People working together. And brother, and those of us in the progressive space, we don't have the time to be at each other's throats. I will always be an ally to a progressive, even if I'm not 100% with them, because we have to work together. Let's get with the program. Now, there's another interesting thing. Mike Cisak, remember I said I disregard the stupidity, but there are some things that must be addressed to show. And I want to show you something that he said that shows you the lack of critical thinking and how you should address it. Let me see if I can find the statement, because I looked at it and all I could do was laugh. Let's talk about it here. Listen to this. Listen to how ill-informed and unable to critically think the right wing has left some of our MAGA brothers. Listen to this. He says, worker co-ops are based on a socialist ideal of shared ownership of the means of production. Okay, listen to that first statement. I love that. He's correct. Worker co-ops are based on a socialist ideal of shared ownership of the means of production. Look at the next statement now. Outside of very small group ownership, socialism requires authoritarian forms to force to enact the ideals. What? You are saying that the means of production are owned, or the ownership is shared. Many of us. And then you believe the stupidity the capitalists tell you that somehow you're going to need authoritarians because the means of productions are shared. It makes no sense whatsoever. What is true is capitalism is authoritarian. You have the guys on the top that controls the means of production, and you slaves run it. Do you see how they fool you? That one sentence from Mike Cisak shows a lack of critical thinking. means of production shared by all, but somehow that shared stuff of ownership is going to do it. Okay, Michael, I'll actually entertain your idiocy, my dear brother. Talk to me. You're on, Mike. Make your case,
good.
Mike.
All
Make your
right.
case, Mike.
Okay, real quick, because I know it's coming up on the end of the hour here. So, worker co-ops. A very, very small organization where everyone knows each other. Okay? It's easy in that situation when everyone is voluntarily getting together and working for a common goal to have that ability to operate as a collective. Okay.
Okay, stop right there. Right there. Okay, perfect. No, perfect. You just said it. Thank you right there. Thank you. So you said in a small group, you're saying they can work together, but in a large group, you're trying to tell me that you have to have an authoritarian and therefore collectives don't work, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought that's
Because
what you're saying. So you are agreeing with me that capitalism is an authoritarian model.
No.
You just said it.
No, you're associating the wrong things.
Okay, help. Teach me, please. Teach me.
Social. Okay, so like co-ops. If you want to expand a co-op into a very large population of the country, okay, where people in one town don't know the people in another town. They don't know what they're doing. Vice versa. Okay. When you start to do stuff working back and forth, in order to run such a large or much larger population, okay, you have to have controls.
So you agree it has to be authoritarian. You are saying if you have to have controls if you have to have controls, you are agreeing with me with different words. You said it have to be a strong person on the top. That's your belief. Authoritarianism. That's your belief. In other words, you're saying if it gets too big, you have to have a small something to control it. And what I'm saying is that's false, and we have evidence to prove it's false. Because I think in Spain, we have Madrigal that works just fine as a collective, and it has over 76,000 workers. One of the biggest companies in the world.
Yeah, it's a very small company overall. Yes.
And secondly, why is it that we need big companies? Why do we need big companies? Why is it a requirement that companies are big?
A lot of companies become large because you have to have consolidation.
Why?
Due to the costs of regulation and other laws.
That's a false statement. That's a completely false statement. That's a completely false statement. Completely false.
Hey,
stop.
For example,
don't lie to our audience.
No,
that's a lie.
You stop for a second.
That is a lie. Go ahead. Continue. Go ahead.
Let me give you an example. Okay. So of the 45 years I've been around in the state that I live in, okay, year after year, we have more and more local butcher shops close up, small shops close up.
Of course.
And I keep asking them when I talk to them and said, why are you having to close up? And every single freaking time they say it's because of the cost of regulations. They're lying to you.
I have researched that. They are lying to you.
Because
let me tell you why they're closing. They're
all of them are good friends.
Okay, you said it. Let me just explain the reason why. You've said it. You don't have to repeat it twice. Here is the reason why they're closing. They're closing because on the individual basis, corporate holders and venture capitalists have made life easier for them. It's the same thing that's happening with the small doctor's office right now. The small doctor's offices are closing and turning into centers where doctors are being paid by these venture capitalist companies. Same thing happens in the meat industry and everywhere else. The regulations don't force you to go big in scale.
It's the same with doctors.
It's the biggest lie.
Yeah,
look, we're out of time. Sir, we're out of time, but I'm glad you called, because the reason I'm glad you called is you proved that capitalism is in fact authoritarianism. So thank you so kindly for making my point, my dear brother. That is exactly what you did by saying. You said a small amount of people, when companies get big, are required to make the decisions. It won't work for the collective. To which my question is, so why do we need to grow the companies large? We need to grow the companies large so that a few people can monopolize on the work of others. Until you unlock yourself from the slavery that exists in your mind, that won't change. Thank you, my brother, Michael Cisak. We'll talk tomorrow. I got to get out of here. Anyway, folks, look, it is important. Michael Cisak, I'm so thankful for the call that Michael just made, because he didn't realize that I was walking him into exactly the sentence that he was trying to prove. And that sentence is that he believes in authoritarianism. That's what he believes in. Monopolies and authoritarianism. But anyway, folks, I want to thank you all for being here with us. It is very important that we continue doing this and educating ourselves. Please support the program. How can you do that? You can support the program. First, there are a lot of methods of supporting it. You can find at politicsdoneright.com/support. politicsdoneright.com/support. But right now, I'm asking everybody who has the wherewithal to do so to please become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. That gives us, as we get more numbers, we'll have enough cash flow to start hiring some part-timers to help reduce my day. 16 hours a day, 7 days a week is killing me. But until we get enough subscribers, that is what it has to be, because the work has to get done. So please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and consider becoming a paid subscriber. It's cheap. It's like a coffee. And if we get enough people doing that, it would mitigate much of what we're doing here. I love you all. Thank you all for being here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.